UFC 318 Holloway vs. Poirier 3 took place on July 19th at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. The event brought in $8.09 million at the gate, as well as sponsorships, merchandise sales, and potential site fees that can range from the millions to tens of millions. Not to mention the UFC's broadcasting deal with ESPN, which pulls north of $500 million a year. But how big of a slice did the fighters take home? The Louisiana State Athletic Commission does not disclose fighter pay information, so while Venom sponsorship and fight bonuses are released, the purses are based on disclosed earnings from previous events. And if you stick around until the end, I'll reveal how much the channel made from the last video. With that said, let's jump into the first fight.
Every fighter that's under contract, if you want to tell the media what you're paid, that's up to you.
In the bantamweight featured prelim, Phillips came out sharp, stunning Vinicius Oliveira early with a clean right hand. His slick movement made him tough to track, but Oliveira started to find his rhythm as the round wore on. In the second, the momentum shifted when a massive left hand from Oliveira dropped Phillips, who scrambled to survive, but ultimately ended up on the bottom. Once back on the feet, Oliveira walked him down, connecting with clean strikes. The final round was more competitive, but Oliveira stayed relentless with the pressure, and after three hard-fought rounds, the judges all saw it for Vinicius Oliveira, who earned a unanimous decision win. Phillips made an estimated $70,000 to show, and $6,000 in Venom sponsorship, also known as Fight Week incentive, for $76,000 on the night. While Oliveira took home around $30,000 to show, and $30,000 for the win, $4,500 in sponsorship, for a total of $64,500. Kicking off the main card, Daniel Zellhuber opened with punishing body kicks, while fellow lightweight Michael Johnson, despite destroying his shorts, answered with rangy punches and lightning-fast hands. As the round progressed, Johnson began mixing in body shots of his own before cracking Zellhuber with a powerful left hand that dropped him to the canvas. Though Zellhuber survived the ground flurry and was able to get back to his feet, Johnson continued to land clean punches. Zellhuber tried to rally in the final round with more aggressive combinations, but Johnson's defense held up, and in the end, he earned a clear unanimous decision win. Zellhuber, on his sixth fight with the promotion, made a projected $31,000 to show, along with $6,000 in sponsorship pay, taking home $37,000. While Johnson earned $145,000 to show and $145,000 for the win, the maximum non-championship $21,000 in sponsorship, and a total of $311,000. After a slow start and some cautious exchanges, Pitbull scored a slick takedown followed by a well-timed trip to bring Dan Ige down to the canvas. Ige defended well and got back to his feet, but struggled to land cleanly as Pitbull avoided big exchanges. In round 2, Ige picked up the pace, stepping into combinations and controlling the action. Just as he looked to be taking over, Pitbull cracked him with a straight right, then poured on punches against the cage. Ige survived, and later blasted Pitbull with a brutal head kick that appeared to shatter his nose, yet somehow didn't put him down. Ige pushed hard in the final moments, but Pitbull used his grappling to weather the storm and did enough to escape with the win. On his 20th fight with the promotion, I have Dan Ige at $150,000 to show, along with $16,000 in sponsorship, taking his total to $166,000. And in his second UFC fight, I'd put Pitbull's show money coincidentally also at $150,000, which is a bit higher than other champions from outside promotions, like Justin Gaethje and Reinier de Ridder, who were hovering around the $100,000 mark on their first UFC contracts. He'd also earn $150,000 for the win, as well as the entry-level $4,000 in Venom sponsorship, giving him a total of $304,000. The third fight saw welterweight Daniel Rodriguez come out guns blazing, swarming Kevin Holland with punches. Holland stayed composed, slipping shots and firing back with counters and kicks. Early in the second, Rodriguez cracked him again, sending Holland to the canvas, and followed with more heavy shots. Kevin survived, and even threatened with a Darce choke after landing a takedown, but Rodriguez shrugged it off and the fight continued. Potentially down 2 rounds, Holland delivered a big moment in the final round with an uppercut that toppled Rodriguez, and once back on their feet, he continued to hurt him against the cage. D-Rod was somehow able to survive and limp over the finish line to secure a unanimous decision win. Holland made a disclosed $250,000 earlier this year at UFC 311, meaning he likely pulled that much here as well, along with $21,000 in sponsorship pay, and Dana White alluded to the fact that while they didn't receive Fight of the Night, both men would be earning a little extra for their efforts. This type of locker room bonus is documented to be in the range of $4,000 to $25,000, and considering the pay rate for these two, I'd imagine it's at the upper end of that range. That takes his total to $296,000 on the night. While Daniel Rodriguez would have made around $108,000 to show and $108,000 for the win, $11,000 in Venom sponsorship, along with his locker room bonus, taking home a $252,000 paycheck. In the middleweight co-main event, Paulo Costa started strong, chipping away at Roman Kopylov's lead leg and mixing in clean shots to the head and body. Kopylov fired back, but had trouble finding his rhythm amid Costa's heavy offense. After a brutal leg kick, Paulo connected with a punch that sent Roman's mouthpiece flying, then unloaded hammer fists as the Russian shot for a desperate takedown. A huge right hand midway through the second rocked Kopylov again and pushed him to the fence, where Costa unleashed another barrage of strikes. He survived, but the damage kept piling up as Costa continued to control the striking exchanges. Kopylov had a few moments, but never quite turned up the urgency, while Costa was able to finish strong, sealing a dominant decision win. Kopylov earned a disclosed $80,000 3 fights ago at UFC 298, though likely on a new contract, he would have made around $105,000 to show, along with $6,000 in sponsorship, coming out to $111,000. As for the winner Paulo Costa, he made a huge jump in base pay from $65,000 at UFC 278 to $250,000 for his next fight at UFC 298. He's only fought once since then, a loss in his last fight against Sean Strickland, so he likely earned $250,000 to show, along with a $100,000 win bonus, as well as $11,000 in Venom sponsorship, totaling $366,000. Attending my first live UFC event was nothing short of incredible. Despite the result, witnessing Dustin Poirier's final walk firsthand was an experience I'll carry with me forever. The energy in the arena, the passion of the fans, and the love this community has for the sport reminded me why I started this channel in the first place. As we close in on 10,000 subscribers, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's come along for the ride. Now back to the main event of the evening. Max Holloway set the tone early, dropping Dustin Poirier with a straight right and swarming him with ground strikes. Poirier was able to recover and fired back, but Holloway's pressure and volume were relentless. In the second, Holloway rattled Poirier with combinations and had him in trouble again, but in easily his biggest moment of the fight, Dustin scored a knockdown at the end of the round, followed by a guillotine attempt in a wild exchange. The war continued as Holloway looked to be in peak form. In the final round, Poirier emptied the tank, but Holloway stayed sharp, landing at a higher clip before pointing to the canvas with 10 seconds left and tagging Poirier several times in the final exchange. It was somewhat representative of the entire fight, as Max played spoiler to Dustin's retirement and walked away with a unanimous decision win. Despite the loss, Poirier claimed on the Ariel Helwani show that at this point in his career, he's earning the most money he's ever made. It's been reported that he pulled around $1 million guaranteed for his fight against Conor McGregor at UFC 264, so I'd put his purse around $1.5 to $2 million for his retirement fight. He'd also earned the challenger's $32,000 in sponsorship pay, and as he's not the current champion, Dustin isn't guaranteed pay-per-view points, but he stated previously that he typically does receive a cut of the revenue, so using the standard rate most recently outlined in 2022 CAA documents prepared for Francis Ngannou, he'd earn an additional $200,000, for a grand total of $1,982,000 on the night. And as for the still BMF champion Max Blessed Holloway, I'd actually peg his purse in the same range as Dustin's, along with the champion's $42,000 in sponsorship, and as BMF champion, his cut of the pay-per-view revenue for an additional $200,000, meaning both men walked away with nearly $2 million on the night. And last but not least, my video on UFC Nashville got over 7,400 views as of this posting, translating to $24.67. Corrections to the numbers I've shown will be listed in a pinned comment below. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week for UFC Fight Night, Whitaker vs. DeRitter.